Do you know what actually stands between where you are resting right now and the exact financial summit you dream of reaching? It is a deep, invisible, and highly dangerous canyon that the vast majority of society never even notices. I call this space the performance gap, the defining difference between individuals who spend their entire lives just scraping by, trapped in a cycle of economic anxiety, and those who achieve absolute financial freedom to build a lasting empire lies entirely in their relentless, almost manic obsession with closing this gap. Most people's life trajectories look like a chaotic, unpredictable medical monitor. They are incredibly motivated on a Monday, completely drop the ball by Thursday, jump to a brand new idea by the following week, and ultimately spin their wheels in the exact same place for decades. They never reach their destination because their energy is completely scattered. Others play the slow, traditional, old-school game. They follow the outdated advice of an institutional system stuck in the past. Go to school, accumulate mountain-high debt, secure a predictable job, and play it safe. If they are lucky, they eventually hit their financial goals in their late 50s or 60s at a point in their lives where they no longer possess the youth, vitality, or energy to truly enjoy the freedom they spent a lifetime sacrificing for. But there is an accelerated path. My trajectory was completely different because, to be brutally honest, I reached a point where I simply didn't have any other option.
But there is an accelerated path.
Genius.
My
I wasn't
trajectory
born
was
with an
completely
elite
different.
network, and I didn't
Because,
have
to be brutally
high-tier
honest,
academic credentials to lean
I reached a
on.
breaking point.
After facing intense psychological pressure, burnout, and a toxic environment in my very first traditional job, I reached a breaking point. I completely abandoned the conventional corporate grind and made a binding promise to myself.
I
would
completely
bridge this
abandoned the
performance gap
conventional
as
corporate
fast as
grind and made a
humanly
binding
possible.
promise to myself. Lala,
If
be
you
this.
only choose
The
to
amount of money you
internalize
make
one
is
single
always
economic
directly
law
perception
from
of
this
you deliver.
entire breakdown, let it be this. The amount of money you make is always directly proportional to the marketplace's perception of the value you deliver. The global economy does not care how hard you cry, how long your hours are, or how much you feel you deserve success. It only rewards solutions.
The global economy
Simply
does
put,
not care
the
how
bigger,
hard you
more
cry.
complex, and more
It only
painful the
rewards
problem
solutions.
you're able to solve
The
for
bigger
others,
the problem you solve,
the more
the more the
aggressively
market will
the
reward
market
you.
will reward
And
you, and the faster you will cross that performance gap from where you are to where you truly want to be. The single biggest trap aspiring entrepreneurs fall into is what I call the method-first delusion. They see a viral video about a specific side hustle, whether it's e-commerce, real estate, or local consulting, and they immediately try to force their entire lives, personalities, and schedules into that specific box. They try to fit a square peg into a round hole, and before they know it, they crash, burn, and blame the industry. To build a business that scales effortlessly without destroying your mental health, you have to reverse engineer the process. You must map out a strategic psychological blueprint composed of 3 distinct intersecting dimensions that form your core alignment. The first dimension is the passion variable, which contains the elements, industries, and creative domains you genuinely love exploring. These are the topics you read about in your spare time, the niches that capture your curiosity, and the projects that don't feel like pulling teeth to execute. The second dimension is the competency variable, defining what you are naturally good at, or the specific skills you have developed the capacity to execute with high proficiency, such as communication, design, model building, or organizing chaotic data. The third dimension is the economic reality variable, which is the cold, hard baseline of the market. This focuses on what businesses, high-value clients, or massive audiences are actively starving for, and the high-ticket solutions people are already pulling out their credit cards to pay serious money for. The tragedy of modern careers lies in focusing on only one or two of these dimensions, while ignoring the third. For instance, the broke creative chooses a career path exclusively because they love it, completely ignoring market demand, and ends up earning minimum wage while watching their passion turn into bitter resentment. The exhausted workhorse is highly skilled at a task, but because they trade literal time for dollars without leverage, they work their fingers to the bone in a low-ceiling environment. Meanwhile, those caught in the golden handcuffs pick a venture purely because it pays an incredibly high income, despite finding the day-to-day operations soul-crushing, leaving them feeling trapped in a premium psychological prison.
Nail that down first.
The only definitive formula for becoming both wealthy and deeply fulfilled is to find your unique value zone, the exact intersection where your passion, your competency, and economic reality collide. Stop hunting for random side hustles. Nail down your value zone first, and then build the business vehicle around it. Once your value zone is locked in, you need to select the right financial vehicles to drive you in a perfectly straight line toward your destination. To construct a bulletproof financial empire, you actually require two entirely different economic engines working in perfect mathematical synchronization. An active vehicle designed to aggressively rake in cash flow, and a passive vehicle engineered to multiply that wealth while you sleep. Your active engine must be lean, highly responsive, and cash flow positive from day one. When you are just starting out, resources are tight, and baseline capital is low. Diving headfirst into asset-heavy businesses with massive overhead, complex shipping logistics, or physical storefronts is an immense risk. Instead, your initial venture should be a lean digital model with near-zero setup costs, something that can be executed entirely from a laptop in your spare time. This is where a highly specialized service-based business or a scalable digital media venture becomes an elite strategy. Building a high-leverage content engine allows you to construct a borderless, cash-flowing asset without thousands of dollars in baseline overhead. Your active vehicle needs the structural potential to rake in serious revenue quickly by leveraging modern digital platforms. Once your active engine begins creating a heavy financial surplus, you must immediately attach your passive engine to ensure that your money begins working tirelessly for you in the background.
Creating a heavy financial surplus, treat
Far
investing
too
like
many
a frantic
people
side
treat
hustle.
investing
It is a
like
systematic
another
tool to
frantic
multiply
side
your wealth.
hustle. Approaching the stock market with a dangerous day trading mindset that ultimately results in total loss. True investing isn't about overnight riches. It is a cold, systematic tool designed to protect, store, and multiply your wealth. By utilizing automated platforms to build a customized portfolio or simply allocation strategies targeting the S&P 500 index fund, you effectively invest in the top 500 largest, most resilient publicly traded corporations in the world with a single click. The historical math is completely absolute. While the stock market will always experience short-term volatility, history demonstrates that it always recovers and sets new highs over extended periods.
By automating a specific allocation, compound interest takes complete control, turning modest allocations
into the mathematical phenomenon of compound interest takes complete control, turning modest allocations into a massive portfolio without requiring a single minute of daily manual labor. Your active engine creates the raw cash. Your passive engine locks it away to grow forever. The absolute #1 killer of raw momentum in the modern digital age is shiny object syndrome. We live in a hyper-connected world where self-proclaimed financial gurus constantly scream that you need 7 different streams of income to become successful. This is an absolute lie designed to keep you distracted. When you see motivated individuals frantically attempting to juggle multiple business models, manage a chaotic social calendar, and track a dozen different trends all at once, they end up spreading their resources so incredibly thin that they completely lose their focus and stall out at square one. You possess three main, strictly limited resources: money, time, and energy. While it is always possible to deploy strategies to generate more money, your daily energy reserves, and most importantly, your overall time, are entirely fixed, non-replenishable assets. To see the unfiltered reality of your current trajectory, you must run a brutal, honest assessment known as the graph of truth. First, write down a comprehensive list of absolutely every activity that consumes your attention throughout a typical month, including your day job, side projects, social media, video games, and socializing. Next, visualize your life divided into segments corresponding to each item on that list, and honestly evaluate the exact proportion of money you spend, the literal hours of time you consume, and the raw mental energy you dedicate to each segment every single month. When people run this exercise, the data is staggering. They realize they are spreading their precious fixed resources across a dozen different low-value domains that give them absolutely zero return on investment. When you are in the aggressive initial phase of trying to break out of economic stagnation and build real wealth, the concept of a perfectly balanced lifestyle is a comforting myth. If you want extraordinary accelerated results, you cannot afford to spread yourself thin. You have to be willing to narrow your vision down to a single, unshakable laser focus for an extended, uninterrupted period.